quick tuition on the kettlebell swing. A very important power move that we throw in quite a lot. Really good for conditioning your lower back, your glutes and your hamstrings. Right? Those three make up your posterior chain. There really isn't any better exercise that we do. A lot of stuff that we do in life is forward, we drive, we type, we do everything and we curl up into a ball. And then suddenly we have a power exercise like a kettlebell swing where we're actually trying to build ourselves backwards and try and develop our hamstrings, our glutes and our lower back. It's also going to bring in a little bit of the shoulders, but not too much, and I'll tell you about that. So first of all, I'll show you the swing so you know what we're talking about. Okay, bend the knees, pick up the kettlebell. Now there is another way to start this, but I can show you that again. So we want to start with our feet in about a squatting stance. About a squatting stance, you don't want your feet to be in like a deadlifting position because obviously the kettlebell has to pass in between your legs. Okay, so take it like a little bit wider. And what we're going to do is, we're just going to hinge back. Now hinging just basically means sticking my bum back and hinging at the hip, driving back until we get a stretch in the hamstring. Okay, if I were to fold over, that would be using my lower back. We want to try and avoid that at all costs. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to pop my hips forward, I'm going to pull the kettlebell back in between my legs, I'm going to exhale, snap forward, and then open up to get a little bit deeper into it, and that's my swing. Okay, so give you a bit of an idea of what I'm doing, and then when I want to come back from the swing, what I do is I stick my bum back, I let the momentum come out of the bell, and I place it down in like a deadlift fashion. What you don't want to do is pick up the kettlebell like this, and put it down like that. Okay, so you can see you're just doing absolutely nothing to support your back. So when you're performing the swing, you're trying to drive the kettlebell back like you're throwing an American football back in American football. So it's like you hike, throw your hips back, and you throw the weight far across the room. You're not pulling it down towards the floor, you're trying to pull it back because you're trying to load your hip. Think about trying to load your backside with that weight. You pull it down, stick your bum back, and then you feel that tension loading up, at which then you repel, firing the hips forward and squeezing your backside at the top. But really, you need to have that pulling movement. It's not just enough to let gravity kind of take the kettlebell down. That's going to end up kind of looking like this. And it's just going to be very hard to control it with your hips. You need to pull and snap, pull and snap. And it's almost like you're trying to hit the ball of the kettlebell like into your backside. So you're trying to whip it around, pull it down, keep your chest up to keep your back straight, and drive your hips back all the way. Now you should be getting like a kind of a light stretch in the back of your hamstrings. Now we talk about returning. To return, I'm going to fully load my hips. When I get back to that point, that's my posterior chain loading up with something called elastic energy. Okay, just like pulling back an elastic band. The more you load it up, the more tension there will be to fire forward. So the faster I pull that kettlebell down and the more I load my hips, actually the easier and the more power I'm going to generate coming forward. Now, coming forward isn't just a question of being back in that position with kind of a soft bend in the knee and then just sticking your hips forward. Okay, it's not a hip thrust that we're going for. What we're going for is we're trying to snap back into this like core tension. Core tension is basically if you were to lock out your knees, so you tense your quads, squeeze your backside, and then tense your stomach. Okay, now everything between my knee and my chest is locked out and it's tensed. Now I'm trying to return to that tension every time I complete a swing. So when I pull down, I unlock, I pull down, I drive my hips back, I'm keeping my hands close to the inside of my thighs, and then I snap back to that position where I lock at the top. I lock at the top. I don't just drive my hips forward. You see a lot of people doing swings and it's a loose swing and they're missing out on all that core activation, that full body tension that they're trying to get at the top. Okay, so I'll show you how to actually pick it up from the start. We're going to do a few complete swings, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to bring in a power breathe. You'll see me get a little bit more tension, a little bit more power out of it, and then I'll explain to you what I did after. Okay, so we want to start about half a meter away from the kettlebell. We keep our wide stance, we throw our hips back, we keep a very soft bend in the knee. You should never really lock your knees out. And then we just grab onto the kettlebell. Okay, looking forward, keeps your posture nice and straight. You're going to pull back, snap. Okay, the power breathe, that's sound. All that does is when you go, you can try it yourself, it actually locks out your stomach and you kind of tense your abs if you go to exhale really sharp, really fast. Now it's not enough. People make the mistake. They'll come back, they'll drive forward, and then they'll go, it's too late. Okay, you want to do that from this position. That's like the release to fire back the kettlebell. So I pull down, I load the hips, and I up, back into that position. And when I finish exhaling and I reach the top, I want to come up, forward, 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 lock out. So from about here, I want to be tensing my backside forward to lock out at the top. Now you can't actually tense your backside when you're sitting back like that. You can't tense your glutes. Give it a shot. They just don't fire. They have to come up. You have to be standing up tall and then lock them out. So pull down, load the hips, snap back, tense, and at the top you have the full body tension. I'm tensing my stomach, I'm tensing my glutes, I'm tensing my quads. So everything's locked out. Is there any reason to come up there? No, absolutely not. It serves no purpose, okay? It breaks the momentum of the exercise, and it kind of just, it's like throwing in a little bit of shoulders. This is a hip exercise. You've got loads of time to do your shoulder presses to develop your shoulders. So, a lot of momentum, a lot of power generated. A good thing to do for maybe like 15 to 20 reps to develop power. Going over that, you're getting into endurance. You're better off sticking with something heavy, but being able to explosively fire forward. If you're that explosive, you'll probably get to 15 reps and you'll feel like you want to get sick. And that's what you're aiming for, because that's going to develop the fast twitch muscle fibers, the powerful muscle fibers in your hamstrings. So really great one for any sort of field sports, anything to do with sprinting, because that's where you actually generate a lot of power. If you look at the way you run and you look at a kettlebell swing, if you look at what your hips are doing, it's pretty much the same thing. So really good one for developing power into a sprint. Has to be done fast. You have to lock out. When you reach that back point, it has to be a race. How quickly can you get from there to there? Okay, no room for this. That's gravity, and that's just momentum taking you forward. To generate power, you have to combat that by pulling down, snapping forward, squeezing your backside at the top. You need to have that tension. Imagine someone's just going to come in and whack you in the stomach with the stick. You've got to keep it locked out as much as you can. So tense between the chest and the knee, keep everything locked out. Okay, if you have any questions on it, drop us an email or else hit us up on Facebook. So I'm Patrick again for the Underground. That's a swing. Thanks a lot.